And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. We just wanted to showcase some of our new capabilities, increased audio format, and so on. Lots of interviews coming up as well. And we're showing you here some imagery of the closest star. This is SDO imagery in composite wavelength here. You're looking at two different ionized iron spectra, ultraviolet light in 193 and 211 angstroms. We have it zoomed way in as far as we can go on the northeastern limb to show you the progression of Sunspot 2855, which has not really grown in total umbral area, but has gained opposite polarity umbrae. There was also a coronal mass ejection, a little one on the far side of the sun. Let's take a look at the view from stereo A, which is located here at Lagrangian 0.5. And here's a little coronal mass ejection. And for you new viewers out there, we do forecast coronal mass ejections on the channel. And we only do that for this area. Not for this area. Only for this area. I hope that makes sense. Yes. That's the Earth-facing side, by the way, just to go back to our graphic here. Lagrange 0.5. And looking at the sun from Lagrange 0.5 puts Earth to your right. So we got a little far side coronal mass ejection there. Nothing even approaching the Earth vicinity. That's stereo A's coronagraph. Here's some more imagery from the SDO in 171 angstroms. My favorite wavelength. Great view of this plage. And you can see some filamentary activity once again coming out of the south side of this plage down here. And we'll also show you the magnetogram. So here's the magnetogram imposed on this same imagery. And you can see a little bit of a changes going on with the magnetic fields here. It's now a beta class sunspot, so likelihood of solar flares has gone up with that change in the magnetic fields of the sunspot. The radio flux is still only at 74, I believe. And again, we haven't seen the umbral area really change very much. By the way, if you haven't seen our video from yesterday entitled Eugene the Philosopher on Spectra, Emission, Absorption, Blackbody Radiation, and Condensed Matter, check it out. Here's a clip looking at the Vela pulsar in gamma ray. It is, I think it probably has a jet oriented at us because of the way it looks in X-ray. You know, you get a little bit more of a feature there. Anyway, check that out. If you want to learn more about emission and absorption spectra and blackbody radiation and so on, it's on multiple playlists on the channel. So here's the radio flux, still only at 74. This is the 1-year chart here from Solon.info. This black line is the 10.7 centimeter radio flux. The red line down here is the sunspot number. Solon.info for that graph if you want to look at it yourself. No geomagnetic storms or anything like that forecasted by NOAA, but we see another coronal hole wind stream arriving. And we'll get to that in a minute. First, global seismicity. We saw some major earthquakes, and shout out to Mary Wright, one of our longtime patrons and viewers. Thanks for sending an email about that. A 7.6 or 7.5 magnitude earthquake happened near the South Sandwich Islands. There's the location of that, and there's a huge earthquake swarm there. Lots of aftershocks in that area there south of near where the Atlantic Ocean and Antarctican plate boundaries are located. And you can see this massive swarm down here. We won't zoom in on it. There's a lot of quakes. And we're just going to scroll up the list here, citing anything else out of the ordinary, like this 5.0 at Iran. Philippines also saw a 5.7, so major uptick here in seismicity. And that 7.5 magnitude quake occurred at 1832 Universal Time. Yesterday on the 12th. By the way, happy Friday the 13th. And you're just going to see tons of aftershocks here in that area. We don't want to spend too much time on this, as we don't want the video to be too long, so we can get it out and uploaded as quickly as possible. Just tons of aftershocks there. It's a shaky part of the planet. And by the way, no tsunamis apparently were generated by that. We did check tsunami.gov and nothing like that showing up. Also, China saw a 5.4 in the past 24 hours. That one more recently at 4:21 on today, Friday the 13th. Are you celebrating by watching horror movies? Let us know in the comments. Will you be dressing up like Jason Voorhees tonight because you're dying for Halloween? You want to wear a mask that you'd like to wear. Next, looking at volcanoes, and we see some new volcanoes on the list once again. Also, a new map here drawn of Fagradalsfjall. Check out all the new real estate created by Fagradalsfjall. And you can find that yourself also on volcanodiscovery.com. A new map there drawn by the Fagradalsfjall Volcanic Eruption Society, or whatever it is. Viewsofttheworld.net listed on that image. So a new lava flow map there. Also a submarine explosion showing up on the list. We'll get to it. Shivaluch now on the Kamchatka Peninsula. And we saw the other volcano, the other active volcano yesterday. Now Shivaluch is on and that one's off. So Fukutoku Okanoba in the Volcano Islands produced a submarine explosion. A confirmed steam and gas plume west of the undersea volcano. Also Atka in the Aleutian Islands. So another Aleutian volcano having its alert level raised to yellow. Popocatépetl still producing a 19,000-foot plume of volcanic ash over central Mexico. Fuego, 16,000-foot ash plume as it explodes. That volcano located in Guatemala. Revenador exploding, producing a 15,000-foot ash plume over Ecuador. Sabancaya, 22,000-foot ash plume over Peru as it explodes. Nevada State Chilean reminding us not to pole vault the caldera as explosive activity continues. Flight level 140. It's a 14,000-foot volcanic ash plume. And again, please don't pole vault the caldera. It could be unfortunate. What's not unfortunate is our own website. It's all tech. SMASHOMASH.com. Go have a visit. You'll find links there to our merch shop. We've just put up some new merch. And today's featured products are the Mensa and Mansa products. Yes. So we're urging people to make Earth not suck again. You may have noticed that the planet's been sucking in the past 18 months. So it's up to you to Mensa and make Earth not suck again. And if you're an American, perhaps it's up to you to Mansa and make America not suck again. This completely nonpartisan clothing brought to you by me. It's all designed by us here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. So again, go have a look. Welcome to the Neo Renaissance. You can find the link on our website at SMASHO Merch. Our social media is also there. Thanks to our patrons, the true source of funding for this content, patreon.com/SmashAmash. If you'd like to assist us, our patrons help a lot by giving us some idea of incoming income on a monthly basis. Shake-ups coming there as well, as smashamash.com is getting subscription services come September. And let's look at the sun-facing suite of instruments on the GO 16. What a workhorse the GO 16 is. It's doing a lot of stuff. One of them is monitoring X-rays, and we don't see any major flares. Again, the likelihood of solar flares has gone up with the increased activity from Sunspot 2855 now becoming a beta-class sunspot. We'll show you the fields at the end of the video. Here's the proton flux, no spikes in that. No coronal mass ejections headed our way. But there is a coronal hole wind stream arriving now. The high-speed portion looks like it just got here. Here's the GOES magnetometer over the past 3 days. And there is a South Pole current sheet headed our way. Here's a view of the current sheet. as the solar wind puts out what you could call current in the form of charged particles known as solar protons. And when we look at the predominant polarity of that, there are two different current sheets. So here's the line of sight field plot. The top view ecliptic plane field plot is a little bit better. And the data is derived from ground-based magnetometers and magnetometers on stereo A and stereo B. And you can see there is a south pole current sheet headed this way. If we see Sunspot 2855 get more complex or larger, this south pole portion of the current sheet may grow and may arrive more suddenly. The magnetic environment can change suddenly. Keep in mind the data was about an hour and a half old when we made the video. We'll also show you the sun's B field here in blue and the coronal hole plots. You can see there is a transequatorial North Pole oriented coronal hole here. And I think we're getting more solar wind from this South Pole oriented coronal hole system. It's been coming in spurts, and these have been highly undefined coronal holes. So here's our solar flare monitor, the automated one from the Integrated Space Weather Analysis Center, and you can see the likelihood of solar flares has gone up a little bit. That's because of the increase in complexity of Sunspot 2855. Global geomagnetism currently calm at a KP of 2. However, we did see a recent increase in the solar wind speed, so it looks like another coronal hole wind stream showing up. The leading edge of this one reached a density of 27.42 protons per cubic centimeter. Current conditions are only 8.2 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed only slightly elevated off its lows here. Current solar wind velocity 386 kilometers per second. And it looks like the BZ is going back to the zero line. Nothing too exciting happening there. Let's take a look at the geospace. The magnetohydrodynamic pressure. And I'm going to let that play through so we don't have to edit the video. Should be 4 hours of data. 4 hours of data as interpolated by the space weather modeling framework to calculate magnetohydrodynamic pressure. In nanopascals is the scale that this model is using. We'll also show ground magnetic perturbations. Geospace delta V changes to the Earth's B field. We showed you the sun's. Here is the Earth's B field. At least changes to it. Magnetic perturbations. And this gives you insight into where auroras are more likely to be seen, power outages during geomagnetic storm conditions, and so on, and like the last frame, 4 hours of data. Once again, congratulations on realizing the existence of our channel. Please visit our links, support us, press like, press subscribe, tell your friends, foes, science noobs, and science pros about us. I'm not so sure the algorithms are a fan of the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. We're also on BitChute. And check out our exclusive. We just recently put up an exclusive. It looks like our 2,000 subscriber special, but it actually just uses the thumbnail. That the title is Accountability for Cuomo, or is it Fondle Staff Get Fired, Cause Deaths No Response? BitChute.com/smashamash. Also, follow us on Twitter. Thanks to our new followers over there. We're nearly at 170 now, and we do regularly post exclusive content at twitter.com/smashamash. Approaching 7,000 tweets, and we won't get banned like some people who think that they're our competition. Next, looking at a diagram of the solar system. Here's where stuff is now. We'll advance this 1 week. There's where you can expect things to be in a week as we approach another full moon. And Venus and Mercury are playing catch-up to both each other and to the Earth. Here's a star chart. And we've drawn in the ecliptic as well as the galactic plane here. If you're up before dawn, you might catch Jupiter and Saturn dominating the night sky for an extended period. And they'll continue to do so for the next month or two. The galactic plane is this blue line, and the yellow line is the ecliptic, the path the sun will take across the sky. By the way, we're also on Twitch. Get us to 100 followers. Download the app. You'll see when we go live. We've been doing our meteorology segments and some of our cosmology segments live. Check our playlists. Today's cosmology segment's integrated into the daily space weather video. And we're starting things out looking at the NASA astronomy picture of the day at apod.nasa.gov. This is M74, I believe it is. Yeah, M74, Messier catalog number 74. What's this one called? The Phantom Galaxy? Anyway, what you're looking at here is a composite image. So these dark areas here, these are just dust lanes. And you're looking at optical. And these pink areas, those are hydrogen. That's hydrogen alpha. So it's hydrogen alpha and optical, I believe. You can see a bunch of blue stars here around the outskirts especially. M74. Yeah, the Phantom Galaxy. And it's a pretty small galaxy. It's only about 30,000 light years, so like about 1/5 the diameter of the Milky Way. And we're not going to pick any random numbers today. We'll show you some quick imagery of supernova 2006 DD. So there it is in optical. Here it is in X-ray. This supernoval nebula. And here it is on the 2-mass in infrared light. It's supernova 2006 DD, which wasn't a random object at all. I just picked a supernova from the Neil Gehrels Swift X-ray Observatory. And here it is in X-ray. A great full-screen false color survey of supernoval nebula 2006 DD. Also, if you want to read about cosmology, head to our forum. There's a whole cosmology forum on it. There are also forums there for Earth and geophysics. There's a free-for-all. The whole forum's free-for-all. And we intend to keep it that way, although we are creating subscription services at smAsho.com come September. There's also general science and our own content and links and so on at the forum. That's today's cosmology segment. It was short, hopefully sweet. And again, check our playlists for over 200 more cosmology segments. We don't see any charging hazards for satellites at the moment. Here's the 1-year chart of the relativistic electrons surrounding planet Earth at the F-ionosphere layer. And here's a 3-day chart, and we're expecting an uptick here. I'm expecting the coronal hole wind stream to be pretty weak, as it already has been, although, again, we did see the density make it all the way up to about 27 protons per cubic centimeter. NOAA forecasting a strong uptick in electron flux in about 2 days. So I have no reason to argue with that. That's the electron content forecast. Here's a diagram of Earth Van Allen belts showing you distances in miles and so on. Feel free to pause the video if you like. Here's the total electron content showing you the entire air column. So this is the electron content through both Van Allen belts all the way up to the very high geosynchronous orbit. And no major anomalies going through here on the total electron content. I'll let it play through a second time. And for you new viewers, most GPS errors occur around the equator at noon, when your GPS has to communicate through a lot of electrons. You get errors. Here's another diagram of the atmosphere showing you where the F-ionosphere layer is at about 300 kilometers, because we're going to show you the ionogram. And here's the animated map courtesy of Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. And we're seeing some actually low-frequency anomalies here, as I think we covered yesterday as well. We'll bring up the latest image, and then we'll show you the anomaly map. So there's where things were at 9 o'clock Universal Time. I would concur that is a low-frequency anomaly time. So we're seeing low-frequency anomalies over Africa, and some over the Canadian polar region. Nothing too extreme. Oh, actually, yeah, some pretty extreme anomalies there on the low range. Centered around the African Rift Zone, right around here. Anyway, here's the latest image. And indeed, you can see some anomalies there stretching from the Philippines into the central Atlantic, as well as over northern Canada. By the way, we will do a meteorology segment today. It'll be a separate video. It might be much later in the day, so make sure you check that out. Again, there's a playlist for it, youtube.com/smashamash/playlists. And what you're looking at there is carbon monoxide. So we've got 6,483 parts per billion there. More on that in the meteorology segment. Next, we've got bonus features. Here is the ground-based solar observatory data from Lurmonth, Australia. It's only 3 minutes and 37 seconds old from when we made the video. And you can see this plage. You can see filaments, 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 all these dark areas, as well as these brighter prominences around the rim. Also, look at the way the sun is brighter all around the rim, even in hydrogen spectra. Again, if you didn't see our video about spectra, emission, absorption, and black body radiation yesterday, check it out, youtube.com/smashamash/videos. Some great imagery there from the ground-based solar observatory at Lurmonth, Australia. Next, the GOES 16 SUVI imagery. So some small prominences up here in the northern solar polar region. And crown prominences are associated with higher levels of solar activity as the sun takes its good old time ramping up into cycle 25. So here's Sunspot 2855 when we did show prep, and you can see this umbra here. That's South Pole. So these are both North Pole. That one is South Pole. There's the magnetogram. And that's old. That's about a half hour old as we recorded the video. So here's a refresh to show you how things have changed. And all of those umbrae got weaker. So that looks like it's evaporating entirely, reducing the likelihood of solar flares, especially major ones. It's a small sunspot to begin with. And we'll close out the video with some more composite imagery. So this is 94 angstroms, another ionized iron, ultraviolet light emission spectral state. High temporal res on 94 angstroms in that it takes 10 images per minute instead of only 2. And the other one that does that is 131, so now we've got a composite with 94 and 131 on the same imagery. 10 images per minute instead of only 2. Those are the two wavelengths that do it from the SDO. If you're wondering, they're specifically formulated to look at things like solar flares. And we'll close things out with 211 angstroms. So this is the sort of the deepest coronal hole view that you can get. 211 angstroms is another spectral state of iron. And you can see sort of a little belt here right around the solar equator of coronal holes there south of that plage. Sort of this whole area down here. This whole area in here is pretty much coronal hole. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather, and may that solar wind be at your back.